Hi, I'm Sean Carruthers, and I hacked my iPod Touch. You can too, and I'll show you how today on The Lab.
Well, hey, how are you? Good to see you, and welcome to The Lab. I'm Leo Laporte, and this is the show where we're going to help you understand technology. We do it every single day, and I'm glad you're here today because you're going to be glad you're here today because we're going to have a lot of fun and we're going to learn some great stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Kate Abraham.
Hello.
The lady of the clipboard.
Indeed.
So King Arthur had a sword from the Lady of the Lake. I get a clipboard from the Lady of the iMac.
It's a modern thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm not the King of England, so, you know, this is good. Andre Charland is here. He's going to talk about Adobe Air, which I think is very exciting. Very, very exciting. Sean Carruthers, as he mentioned, going to hack your iPod for you, your iPod Touch, put your own applications on it.
Yep.
That's kind of neat. You were saying before that you thought you bought a Nano.
I did. I bought the new green Nano.
And you're regretting this.
I'm not regretting it. I just wish I'd waited and spent that a little bit more money on the Touch.
Really? Why?
Because the Touch is just sexy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
The screen's bigger.
Absolutely. And like I found now with the whole video element to the Nano, I'm actually using it for that.
But see, it's such a tiny
exactly,
screen.
So I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, whereas I could have gone for like, you know, for a couple of $100 more, gone for the actual Touch. I'm thinking like, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't.
Well, and then some people don't like the Touch because all the controls are on the screen. So with the Nano, you know, you can just you don't, if it's in your pocket, you can stop it, play it, fast forward, turn it up. You have to actually take the Touch out, go like this, and do it on the screen.
That's part of it, though, for me.
You like that?
I like that. That interface is cool, and the whole like twisting it around, and love it.
Well, as soon as they offer an iPhone in Canada, you just get that instead. You'll be golden.
With the data plan?
Yeah, maybe not. Well, they'll have to do that. They'll have to do that. They'll have to solve that somehow. Hey, let's get a call on. We have lots of great callers ready and waiting.
We have Christopher, and he is down the road in Vancouver, in British Columbia.
Oh, how wonderful! Thank you, Kate. Hello, Christopher.
Hello, Leo.
Welcome to the lab.
Thank you.
Let's see what's on the slab. Little poem. So what can I do for you today?
I just loaded iMovie 08 on my computer.
Okay.
And last year, well, a few weeks ago, I had iMovie 06.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do stop motion video. And with iMovie 06, I can get the images down, or the duration time down to 0.01 seconds. But in iMovie 08, the duration time only goes down to 0.03 seconds.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
To make it a smooth running video.
Yeah, it's not. You know, I have to say I'm very, very disappointed with iMovie 08. I don't know about you, but it doesn't do it for me. I really like the old iMovie. I'm not alone because Apple still offers the old iMovie for download. So you can and now whether they'll support it going forward, I don't know, probably not, but you can still get iMovie HD, you can download it, you can use it, and it works the same as it did. And the new iMovie, you know, do you like the new iMovie?
There's a couple things I like about it, like you can scrub through the movie clips.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's really cool, and just the whole layout is just really neat. But that was the one thing that I wanted to do with my students was to create stop motion videos, and without spending the money on iStop motion.
Well, that's what I was going to recommend. It's $50, but this is the best stop motion program, obviously.
Because it has the overlays in there, and it takes the pictures very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, iStop motion is so much easier to use. That's what I was going to recommend. I don't know of any way to modify the new iMovie to give you a faster frame rate, to give you slower intervals. I don't really know how to do that. I have to say I don't use iMovie, the new iMovie, very much because I can't get comfortable with it. I'm used to this old, format of having a timeline and dragging clips to the timeline. It just makes sense to me. We don't have the new iMovie on here yet. In fact, we really ought to get that on here, Sean, the new iLife. I don't think it's on here. But, you know, if you look at it, it's just completely different. I guess Apple was thinking it's easier to use. Do you find your students, how old are your students?
They're in high school.
Okay. So do you find they find it easier to get the new iMovie than the old?
To understand, well, it's the first time they're using it, so it's brand new to them.
Either way, it's a mystery, huh?
And what's the other neat thing about it is we're going to be putting up the videos up onto YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just one button click
Yeah.
now, and it's up onto YouTube.
I think that's a really nice feature. And actually, a lot of companies are doing that now. I know Adobe just started doing that with Premiere Elements. I guess they figure, hey, that's where most of these movies are going. We ought to make it easier to publish.
Yeah.
I don't know of a fix for the new iMovie 8. I have no idea why they changed that. I think a good idea would be to contact Apple and say, look, this isn't working. Surely you're not the only one. And in short term, I think, iStop motion is probably a really good, next step. You already know about it, obviously.
Yeah, I'll have to get the school to pay for that.
Yeah, $50, I know. There is a free demo. Have you tried it?
Yeah, we got the demo on the computers right now, so we're playing around with that. So.
It's a much easier way. In fact, my friend David Pogue and his son Kelly made us, Kelly's like 8 or 9, made a really good stop motion home movie. It was a really funny video on the New York Times using iStop motion. I guess I don't want to see a New York Times ad, so I'll go back. But I don't know of a quick fix for you. Let me see if I can delve into or actually call Apple, probably a better idea. I can delve into the innards of iMovie and see why. It's really strange that they changed that, and it may have something to do with what the program itself is capable of. That for some reason it can't go that fast. I don't know. I don't know what it would be, but it's frustrating. I know. Yeah, Christopher, I'll pass your complaint along to Apple.
All right, I appreciate your help.
All right, hey, thanks for the call. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer than iStop motion. Get the school to pay for it. If you're going to be doing a lot of stop motion, that's the way to go. And you can still use iMovie. Once you've got the pictures all captured, you can still use iMovie to edit, put titles into all that stuff, and then upload it to YouTube. So it does fit into your workflow pretty well. The new iStop motion, too, is quite good. Hey, we're going to take a break. Coming up, Andre Charlon, we're going to talk about Air. It's not this Air, Adobe Air. It's a whole new way of making the web sing, and we'll talk about it when the lab continues. It's kind of like an area. Right after this. Stay here. Thanks, Christopher. See you later. Welcome back to the lab. Andre Charland is here. He is the CEO and co-founder of Nitobi, which has been around for a while. Yeah. Have you? Since
7 years. Since
1998. Oh, okay. 2000. Yeah. That's a long time, though, in internet time. Yeah. That's like 100 years.
In dog years.
In dog years. His blog is CaptainAjax.com. Last time he was here, he was talking about Ajax. We thought it would be fun to talk about Air, which is something new from Adobe. To me, it looks a little bit like they're competing with Java. Where would you fit Air into the spectrum of internet applications?
Well, Java's very wide ranging, so that's a mess we don't want to get into.
It is a programming language.
It is a programming language, but Air is not a programming language.
What is Air?
Air is a runtime, so it's cross-operating system runtime that I can use HTML or Flash or Flex to build a rich desktop application with.
So Flex is the programming language for Air.
Flex is one of them, so I could use Flex or Flash, or I could also use standard HTML and JavaScript.
Okay.
Because Air can play both Flash movies, and it can also render out HTML and JavaScript.
What is Adobe's strategy here? What do they want to do with Air?
They want to make it really easy for web developers to use their web development skills, which are HTML and Flash, to build desktop applications that run on any operating system.
So we're taking the web back to the desktop, really, is what we're doing.
Yeah, it's a really easy way to take web content and get it on the desktop.
Oh, interesting.
So you get a lot richer functionality too, like I can access files on the desktop, which you can't do in the browser. I can take my applications offline. I can drag and drop stuff into my applications. I can have custom Chrome for the app.
Is that how you anticipate people using Air? Is kind of a desktop version of a website, that kind of thing?
Wouldn't just be a desktop version, it'd be a richer version or a companion.
A companion, maybe.
Companion web application to a website or something like that. It's really hard to say. Flex and also Ajax, which you can do in Air, are such powerful languages on their own that you could really imagine doing anything from word processors, productivity apps, image editing, stuff. Like you can pretty much do anything you want, and then it'll run on your Windows, Mac, Linux, just with the one installer. So the developer is really nice.
Yeah, that's the advantage of Java too. You write once and you run on many different machines, but this does it in a little prettier way, I would say.
Prettier, and it's a lot easier.
Is it easier to write for? Well, because you already know the languages, don't you?
There's some studies say there's about 5 million web developers out there. I'm not sure how that compares to Java, but how many people do you know who know a little bit of Java or a little bit of C++? Not many. Lots of people know a little bit of HTML or a little bit of Flash.
Well, show us a little bit about what you can do with Air.
So here's an example.
I actually use this. This is the Pounce.
Right.
Yeah.
So Pounce is this app, I can use to message.
Pounce
my
is a
friends with.
website where you would put your little messages about what you're up to, and it's kind of, they call it a microblog. But this is a desktop client version of it. So you're not right now. You're writing in an application.
Yeah.
And then you publish it. It goes to the Pounce website. Is that the idea?
Exactly. So it goes out to the Pounce web service. So when I post this, it'll go out to all my friends on the list, sending it right now, and now it's viewable on the website and on everyone else's Pounce app. So if you're running Pounce and you were my friend, you would be able to see this right away.
The advantage of this for the Pounce folks is they're a small team, and there's just Leah and Daniel, and they were able to put this application together with the help of one more developer and distribute it to both Windows and Mac users right away.
And this way I don't have to go open the browser, find the URL, log in. It's just always on my desktop. I'm always there. Another example here is Google Analytics. Somebody rewrote the
that's
whole
neat, because you have to go on
Analytics.
the web to do that.
Yeah, so this is a really nice interface they created here.
This is scraping the information from the web.
Well, Google Analytics has an API.
Okay.
So that's one thing. All these web applications are developing APIs, so I can talk to it with something else than the web browser.
Right.
And that's what they've done here. So I can always have.
Instead of using a web browser, you're using this Air client as if it were a web browser to get this information up.
Exactly.
But you can do it in a much prettier way if you choose.
Much prettier. It's always there. I could take it offline with me. I don't need a connection.
So it saves the data locally as well?
Yeah, it can store data. It has a SQLite database built into Air.
Oh, really?
So,
oh, that's neat.
Yeah, so you can do a full application
that's
right
really
there on the
neat.
desktop.
Yeah.
So this is a good example of, talking. And if I worked in Google Analytics all day, every day, I might not need to go to the browser, right? I can just use this application on my
Google
computer.
just recently announced its own API. API is a programmer's interface, so programmers can write to the website. API for social networking.
Yeah.
I could see maybe an Air client that interfaced with this that really was a Facebook on your desktop, right?
Exactly.
Very interesting.
So you could, not only Facebook, you could, Air makes it really
Facebook isn't
easy.
yet working with Google. They're the one guy that's not. MySpace is, Ning is, but Facebook isn't.
Exactly. One thing that's really cool you can do with Air, it makes it really easy to talk to multiple web services at once, which have security restrictions in the browser. So you can imagine I could build some kind of aggregate Air app, which has like my Facebook, my MySpace, maybe you could bring in Twitter. It's kind of similar to what we did with the Salesforce app here. So I can take my Salesforce customer list with me on the road.
So you're using this yourself for Salesforce here?
Yeah, this is an app we built to talk to our Salesforce account.
Interesting.
And it pulls out on my contacts. So the limitation with Facebook today, Salesforce, is it's only in the web browser.
Right.
Where now I have it on the desktop, it'll sync with me when I go online or offline.
Very interesting.
So yeah, there's a lot.
How about interfacing with the desktop operating system itself? Does it have good ways of distributing data back and forth with the desktop?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing we can do here is, you notice I have this V card, which is a standard contact card. I can just drag this right into.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
And it goes right into there. And if you saw this sync down here, this will go online and sync directly with my Salesforce.com account.
Now, is that also independent of the operating system? Would it work the same way on a Mac as it just did on a PC?
I just use Air APIs. I don't have to worry about the underlying operating system.
And Air figures that all out.
Air figures it all out, yeah.
It says, I'm on Windows, I do it this way. I'm on Linux, I do it this way.
Yeah, I'm on a Mac, I do it that way. Which is an amazing feat from the Air engineering team.
Kidding.
I would not have wanted to be part of that.
Now, Air is very new. Is it pretty standard? Is it pretty well developed? Is it
Still
beta?
In beta. This is the second beta. They're going to have a release early next year. But I mean, just by these, I had to select these 3 apps. I mean, there's a lot of apps.
Are there a lot? Where would I go to find more Air apps?
Airapps.net.
Okay.
But also, if you go to natobi.com/air, I have a whole bunch of links, different resources, some directories.
Oh, fantastic! Thanks for doing that, Andre.
You can download the runtime there and get all that kind of stuff and links back to the.
That's something I should point out. If you want to use Air applications, you need to download Air yourself, install it from Adobe on your computer, and then the applications are tiny, but they require this Air. You call it a runtime. It's kind of a library of routines that.
You can think of it kind of like Flash. You have to install the Flash player.
Right. So there's an Air player almost.
You probably won't notice that as a user though, because I can actually package all that Air stuff into my first app.
Okay.
And it can figure that out on the fly. So if a new user comes, they don't have Air, it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's
so just get a slightly bigger download. It'll install everything behind the scenes for them, and then the next time they go to get an app, it'll figure that out too.
Right.
A lot faster.
It's really impressive. If you were a young guy getting into web development now, or maybe you're an old hand at web development and you're thinking, I need to, expand my toolkit. It sounds like Air would be a good direction to go in.
Air would be great, and the other thing is, you're going to be learning some specific Air stuff, and also HTML and JavaScript or Flex and Flash.
Right.
So it's stuff that will be useful on the web and on the desktop now, which is killer. Kind of one set of technologies.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Air is free right now from Adobe. Do they
It'll
plan
always
to
be free?
They plan to keep it free.
Totally free. Yeah, just like Flash.
Because it's good for them.
Yeah, I know.
It's an Adobe world. They're becoming one of the big players now, really.
Certainly.
You got Microsoft, you got Google, you got Apple, you got Adobe. These are kind of the dominant forces out there in software. Yeah. Andre Charland is the co-founder of Nitobi, nitobi.com. He's put up a bunch of air resources there at nitobi.com/air. We thank you very much for coming in and explaining. By the way, you can read his book about Ajax. It's Prentice Hall. It's called Enterprise Ajax. And his blog is CaptainAjax.com. Thank you, Captain Ajax.
Thank you very much.
On with air. I want to play with this now. I'm really excited.
Cool.
And the applications all look really beautiful.
You get the custom Chrome where you get rid of all that
custom
browser
Chrome.
all that browser crud, like you don't need the address bar.
Yeah, none of that
buttons.
stuff.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
Yeah. Custom Chrome. Is that what they?
That's
the technical term?
Yeah. So you can see there's like slight transparencies here.
Yeah,
you can see what's going on
beautiful.
in the desktop. It's
gorgeous.
Exciting.
Ooh, how neat. All right, we're going to take a break. Let's take a look at some of custom Chrome of our own. This is a close-up picture of something you might find around the lab. I think I know what that is. Well, I know generically what it is. I'm not sure what particular thing it's from. Think about it. We'll zoom out and we'll find out when the lab continues. You stay right here. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we asked you, where did this picture go? It's a close-up of something. I could tell it's a camera lens. I'm thinking it's the camera lens on our actual video cameras. Would I be right? No. It's actually the camera lens on the camera that he takes these pictures with. It's kind of a self-referential camera, the E-Volt. So you must have used another camera to take a picture of the E-Volt.
No, I used a mirror.
Used a mirror?
He used a mirror.
Oh, he's getting clever on us. That's my biggest fear. Now we're in trouble. Thank you, Shawnee. I was worried that at some point he would become self-aware, and then it would be all over for us. The robots would rule the world.
They're taking over. Our next call is Larry, and he's from Calgary in Alberta.
Hello, Larry. Thank you, Kate. Hey, how are you today?
I'm pretty good, thank you, Leo.
Welcome to the lab.
Thank you very much.
What can I do for you?
Well, I have been a long-term PC user.
Yes.
And what I want to do is to switch over to a Mac. And
Bill Gates just spit his coffee out all over his desk. He's so upset with you.
And, well, I'm getting tired of the Windows world and its issues.
And the blue screen of death and viruses and spyware and all that stuff, huh?
Yeah, and so I thought, well, with Leopard out now it's probably one of the best times to switch over.
I think you're probably right. And Apple just revised its laptops, its MacBook. The low-cost MacBook is now a really compelling machine. This is a good time to be a Mac person. Apple is now getting a much bigger market share. They had the biggest quarter they've ever had last quarter. So there are obviously a few people like you. Well, what can I do to help you make the transition a little easier?
I'm concerned about a couple of the applications I have that I really like. One example is Microsoft OneNote.
Yeah, that's a great application.
Yeah, and I like to use it to keep track of the projects I'm working in. I'm a consultant, and so I can use its folder ability and its ability to capture all kinds of data and to stick it all together into one place.
OneNote is a really great application that doesn't really have any direct corollary on the Mac side. You know, it doesn't. Microsoft Office on the Mac has a journaling program that's kind of like OneNote, but not exactly the same. You might take a look at that if you're making the shift. I don't use Microsoft Office on the Mac, but a lot of people, for comfort reasons, coming from Windows, do get Microsoft Office. And since it runs very similarly to Microsoft Office on Windows, that sometimes makes people feel better. But unfortunately, it doesn't come with OneNote. I became aware of OneNote with tablet PC because it has built-in handwriting. You're not using it that way. You're just using it with a keyboard.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, because there is no, as you probably know, there's no tablet functionality on the Mac side yet. Although I could see them doing that sometime at some point. So let's take a look at what we can do to replace that functionality. One thing that I should say is there are a ton of notebook applications on the Macintosh. I've used many of them, I mean, and you use them pretty much the same as you would use OneNote. You can. This program is called Yojimbo. It's from Bare Bones Software, and it's a notebook application. So the idea is you can label things, you can drag things in, you can drag in websites. I will put in. I pretty much have all my passwords in here, hundreds of pages worth of notes, and it's integrated nicely into the operating system. So, for instance, perhaps I'm here on the Flex page, and I want to, because I just learned about Flex, I want to learn more. I can say print, and I can print this directly into Yojimbo, which is a very handy way to save data from the web. It's under the PDF. I can print it right into Yojimbo. You'll see another application on here as well called VoodooPad. That's another one that I really like. This is more like a wiki. It's a notepad metaphor. It might be more comfortable for you if you're used to OneNote, because that is also a notepad metaphor. Let me open up VoodooPad here for you. I want to show you all the different choices. There's also Note Taker, there's Notebook from Circus Ponies, there's Maury, there's Eagle Flyer. All of these have different, kind of features. The good news about them is they're all very inexpensive, and they all have try before you buy. So you can download. What I would suggest is downloading them all and figuring out which one fits your workflow. This is VoodooPad. There's a new version. I'm going to install that while I'm opening up a new document here. VoodooPad is a little bit more just like a notepad, but it has that, as I said, that wiki capability. So when you can make any word a link that links over to another note. It also, like almost all of these, because this is built into the Mac operating system, you can drag images into it, you can drag web links, you can drag entire web pages. So it's a very easy way to, I presume that's how you're using OneNote, to kind of store everything as you work. I put receipts in them, I put invoices, I put travel plans, so it's all there, part of your operation.
Yeah, I use OneNote for that kind of thing, as well as Evernote.
I love Evernote.
Just to highlight it and then click and clip it into Evernote.
Right. Evernote is really excellent. Yeah, and you can do that kind of integration to all of these as well. This is VoodooPad opened up here, and almost all of these have, because the Apple operating system is really nicely integrated, almost all of them have ways to, for instance, right-click stuff, select it and copy them into these things, or paste it in there, or use AppleScript, or I use Quicksilver to quickly enter notes into these things. So there's lots of different ways to do it. In fact, many of these programs, let me reinstall the new VoodooPad. Many of these programs interface with mail as well. For instance, I have if I press Control-Y on any message, it automatically moves it into Yojimbo. Yojimbo is very powerful. I like it. I'm not fond of its organizational scheme. It doesn't allow you to make subfolders, so you end up with, as you can see here, lots of folders on it. But it's got a very powerful search, so I can find anything almost right away. Here's a web page pasted into it. You can see it looks exactly like the original web page, but it's searchable, which is really nice. I guess if I were going to pick a couple for you to try, I would try Yojimbo from Bare Bones Software. I would try Eagle Flyer, which I really like. Also some similar desktop integration. The nice thing about Yojimbo, by the way, is it syncs over .NAC, which is very handy. And I would try VoodooPad, which is a little more lightweight, a little more like Evernote. Eagle Filer, Yojimbo, and I typed Eagle Flyer, Eagle Filer, Yojimbo, and VoodooPad are probably the three I would try right away, and see if one of them fits how you work. There are about 800 of these programs on the Macintosh. None of them's OneNote or Evernote, ironically. I mean, I really think we could do well with something like that. But many of them have most of those features. So it really depends on how you use these programs, and how you use OneNote as to which one would be the best for you. I like Eagle Flyer a lot too. Or Filer, I should say, a lot too. I use all three. That's a little confusing for me. But since you use two, so maybe you won't be as confused. Larry, that's the one thing you're. Oh, and there's one other thing I should mention. You can always use Parallels or VMware Fusion and actually run one Windows and run OneNote in the Mac. It's another way you could do it. It won't integrate as well with the Mac OS, though. I think you'd be happier picking one of these native Mac applications. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Eagle Flyer, Yojimbo. I forgot Maury. I'll add Maury into that one. Eagle Flyer, Yojimbo, Maury, and VoodooPad. There's 4 to try. And there's a bunch I left out. Thanks for the call. I really appreciate it. More calls coming up. But right now, our quick quiz question of the day. Are you ready? Put your thinking cap on for this one. Which of these is the AJAX acronym? Advanced JavaScript Extended, Asynchronous JavaScript and XML, Advanced Java Automation and Extensible. Awesome. Jim's an X-Man. You know, I don't really know. I think all of them could be. Think about it. We'll talk about it a little later on when the lab continues.
Hey, welcome back to the Lab with Leo. I'm Kate Abraham, and I've got a great tip of the day if you're planning a party in the near future. Now, obviously you're used to Evite, but this is a different website completely. It's called mypunchbowl.com. Very simple to use, very easy, very intuitive. Actually makes it quite fun, and the great thing is once you've sent out the invite, it opens up a discussion forum, so all your guests can actually discuss things before they come to your event. Pretty good. So it's mypunchbowl.com. And what you can do is once you can decide you're going to have a party, you can literally choose a design. The great thing is there's various different categories for the type of party you're having. Say I'm having a family reunion. I have two options. I can then click to preview this. And the great thing is once I've actually chosen this, all I have to do is fill in the various, edit the various slots, for instance, date, city, province, the message, email it out, and I will be good to go to have my soiree.
Now, how would you compare it to Evite?
I like it. It's actually simpler.
Easier to use.
It's a lot simpler. It's less. I find Evite very cluttered.
Right.
Especially once you've actually sent the invite out and you've got these various kind of like yes/no boxes,
right.
and you can't see who's who.
Right.
This is very simple to use.
God, I'll have to try it. I like the name.
Mypunchbowl.com.
My Punch Bowl is so funny. I like that.
There's a little bit of a party downstairs.
I hear I think we have dinosaurs downstairs.
They're using
mating.
my punch bowl.
Yeah.
But yes, that's mypunchbowl.com.
All right, let's get another call.
Indeed,
that was a great one.
We have Eric, and he is from Waterloo in Ontario.
Thank you, Kate. Hello, Eric. How are you today?
I'm great, Leo. How are you doing?
Very well. What can I do to make your computer life a little easier?
Well, so a little while ago, we actually spoke about backing up to my to external drives. We
yes.
talked about a whole bunch of drives, and
you're doing that now, and you've got your life is much better, and you're happier and jollier and everything, right?
Except now they're full.
Oh, dang it! There's always something, isn't there?
No kidding. So what I want to do is back up my external drives now to DVD. Doesn't sound that great, but get some of the stuff off of them so that I can actually use them again.
Okay.
But I'm not finding anything that's really working well for me, so I'm hoping you have some recommendations.
Yeah, well, how big is your external drive?
It's a gig. Or sorry, a gig. It's not a gig. That's not very much.
It's a terabyte.
No, it's a terabyte.
Terabyte. It's 1,000 gigs.
You betcha.
Okay, and an average DVD holds 4.7, so you're talking about 250 DVDs.
Yeah, and I don't need to get all of it.
I don't think you really want to do this.
No, it's taking some of the videos and taking some of the pictures and just kind of shrinking them down a little bit and putting them on to something that I can put away.
Yeah. I think this is going to be, you're kind of the canary in the mine. This is going to become a very, very common question as we get these terabyte drives. We fill them up, and then we go, now what? But, let's see, it's 1,000 divided by 4.7 is 212 DVDs. They cost, let's say, 50 cents each. That's $106 in DVDs, not to mention probably most of the day burning. What if you took that terabyte drive, wrapped it in bubble wrap, put it in the closet, and got another one for $200 and started using that instead? Yeah,
that's not.
Wouldn't that be more efficient? That's what I would do. In fact, that's what most people who are using, who are currently backing up massive data are doing. In cases like the Pixel Core, Alex Lindsay's Pixel Core, where they're working on giant videos and they fill up very large drives. Instead of erasing the drive and backing up the data to something else, they just take the drive, because drives are so cheap now, they take the drive, they wrap it, they keep it dry, they keep it in a dark, cool place. Chances are that drive's actually going to last longer than optical media if it's stored properly. Plus, you know, as long as USB or FireWire are standard, relatively common interfaces, you'll be able to read it. Who knows how long you'll be able to read a DVD? I suspect that FireWire USB are going to last longer, or at least something compatible with them. And of course, at some point, you're going to want to move stuff off. The DVD, to move stuff off of 212 DVDs, nobody's going to do it, but you might do it off of a hard drive, you know, before the interface becomes obsolete. One other choice that big companies use is tape backup, but this is not, it's not inexpensive. A DLT tape drive for 1 terabyte is probably going to cost you more than a hard drive. It's used, I would say it's used primarily by companies that want automated backup they can take off-site or somewhere else. So even, I guess if you're only going to back up a few videos and stuff, DVD would be fine. But it's going to be so much easier, frankly, I think, to retire the drive and get yourself a new one. How do you fill up 1 terabyte? That's my real question to you, Eric.
Lots of home video.
Home video, yeah. So you're saving all the scratch stuff, all the unedited material. Are you editing it down?
Yeah,
okay.
But I want to keep it all just in case one of these days you want to go back.
You're just like the Pixel Core. It's exactly the same situation where they've got a final, like this show, they've got a final version of it, but they don't, in case the client comes back to them and says, well, we want to re-edit, they don't want to get rid of anything, so they just retire the drive. Instead of trying to back up the drive to something else, think of the drive itself as a backup. And drives are so cheap nowadays that you could easily, 1 terabyte's a lot, but if you did 500 gig drives, that's about $200 for a 500 gig drive. Back up what you want to that 500 gig drive, retire that. I think that's that's what I plan to do as I fill up these bigger and bigger drives. Drive technology is getting cheaper. We're going to see larger and larger hard drives for, priced down to it's getting down now to 50 cents a gigabyte. So that's really an affordable way to go. That's my best recommendation. Everything else is going to be too expensive or too time consuming. Okay, Eric?
Thanks, Leo.
Hey, good question. I mean, and I think you're one of the early adopters who's seen this before others, but I think we're all going to be faced with this at some point. Thank goodness drives are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah. Coming up, Sean Carruthers, we're going to show you how to add apps to your iTouch. More of your calls, too, as the lab continues. You stay right here.
7, 6, 5 commercials, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I would like to see the closet actually at the Pixel Core where you open up the door and they've got all these hard drives in bubble wrap. But and the other thing about doing that is you can take those drives off campus or out of your house, or put them somewhere safe so that you have these kind of backups, historic backups that go back a long way. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on to another question. Kate Abraham, who you have for us now?
We have our 4th Skype caller. I'm loving Skype today.
I am impressed.
Indeed. And it's Alison from Kitchener in Ontario.
And what a great picture. Hello, Alison. How are you today?
Oh, not too bad, Leo.
Welcome to the lab.
I tried to get on your show back when you had call for help, but unfortunately our schedules didn't mesh up.
Well, I'm glad we could get you now.
Yeah.
What can I do for you today?
Well, I had emailed Kate with regards to Nikon D40s and Nikon D50 lenses. My husband has a Nikon D50, and I had the D40.
Yep.
We'd wanted to get a D50, but unfortunately they were not in production when we went to get mine. And we've been having a lot of trouble finding lenses that'll work with both of them, and we don't want to have to buy duplicate lenses all the time.
Right. You can. In fact, one of the things that I tell people when they go to a digital SLR, which is what these are, with interchangeable lenses, is you're really choosing not a body, you're choosing a company. The body is going to get obsolete. It's going to get improved upon over time. But those lenses are your big investment. You're getting good lenses, good glass. They're going to be good for a long time. Now, that's sort of true, but sort of not true, because what happened is that these lenses are autofocus, right? And they changed the way, well, a couple of things. You can use almost any Nikon lens. All the F lenses work, but many of them don't have the autofocus built in, and then they change the way the autofocus works. So if you want to use a lens with your D40 and your D50 and digital SLRs from Nikon going forward, you're going to want to get one that supports the autofocus lenses, the AF-S lenses. Are you getting a D50 as well?
My husband has a D50. I have a D40 already.
I see. So some of those D40 lenses won't work with the D50. Is that the issue?
No, it's the other way around.
The other way around, yeah. Because the D50 will use the AAS-I lenses, I think, but the D40 won't.
I'm not certain about. I know they use some of the different lenses, and one of the reasons why I got Nikon in the first place is that at the time Nikon D50 was backwards compatible. You can use a lot of the old lenses.
Well, you can. I'll tell you, you can always use the older glass. You just might have to manually focus. Does that make sense?
Auto motor.
If you want the autofocus, they changed the way the motor works, which is dumb.
They took it off of it, and it has to be in the lens now.
Yes, exactly. You got it.
Yeah,
so
from what I understand. I just wondered if you'd had any recommendations.
Yeah, I do. There's a website, Nikonians, Nikonians, Nikonians.org, and they have a lens compatibility chart. I love this. That shows you all the different lenses and which models of Nikon they're compatible with. Now, I think going forward, you're going to be fine. I think it's just this one little discontinuity where there's going to be some compatibility issues. But if you going forward, if you choose the AF-S autofocus lenses, say the D40 will use both, oh no, it'll use both the I and the S. So if you stick with the AF lenses, the I and the F, not the AFD, because that's manual focus on the D40. You see here? Actually, let me show you where I'm talking about, Mr. Cameraman, right here. This is the D50 and this is the D40. And you'll see that neither of them work with the f3 AF lenses, but they both work with the AF-I and the AF-S. That's what I would stick with. The AF, in fact, that works with all of the Nikon digitals. Okay, so the AF lenses -I and -S. AF-D, the only one it doesn't work with is your D40, unfortunately.
Yeah, no kidding.
It gives you manual focus. Is that what you got, was the -D lenses?
I'm not sure which, Michael, is it a -D or the one lens you've got, the 300?
Yeah, if you're with, and then, it is unfortunate. I'm a Canon SLR guy, and so I'm trying to stick with those Canon lenses. Where's your husband? Is that your husband there?
That was my husband in the background. Yeah, he just went to go grab his.
He's going to check.
300 mil. Yeah, he can't remember whether his 300 mil lens is the I or the D.
Well, that's the rule of thumb: is I and S work, D does not, and that's only with the 40.
I think that's probably what his.
Yeah, if you're not getting autofocus, now remember there's a little switch on it, so make sure you have the switch to AF.
Yeah, it's a DG.
It's a D lens.
Work with mine. It's a DG.
Yeah. Now, there are some great sites for selling old glass because these lenses are really great. They're very valuable, and they don't go bad unless you scratch them. In fact, that's what I'm saying, is that you're really buying the glass, not the body. The body, you'll get new bodies as time goes by, as long as they continue to support the glass. And now, I can't promise you Nikon is always going to support the AF lenses, but I think that they will going forward. And the I and the S will be fine. And I'll tell you get great glass, it just pays off in the long run. So Nikonians.org, Nikonians.org. This is a great place to go to get all of the lens compatibility information, so you know which lens will work with which camera. And going forward, I would just stick with the AF-I and the AF-S lenses. That's a good investment for you. Hey, thanks for the call. I'll tell you what, even with man, we're so nowadays lazy. Manual focus. A lot of times I turn off the autofocus. I want the manual focus because I can control. I like a little bit more control. It's not the end of the world. That glass, the lenses are still great. Hey, let's walk over to say hi to Ryan Ewell.
Hello.
He's got a free file for us, a Ewell's Jewel.
I do. It's for Windows. It's the screensaver. I haven't done a screensaver yet. Sometimes it feels a little too easy.
We need a screensaver.
But,
it's not too easy.
For
especially a good one.
This one's a Cities of Earth 3D.
Look at that.
And so what it does is it actually is a 3D globe.
Is it downloading them now, or what's going on?
What's it's doing is it shows the date, the time, so that obviously right now we're in daytime. So it shows
the globe's
on the
moving
Earth,
slightly. You can barely tell, but it is. Yeah.
And then what it's doing is it's listing all the major cities in the database, the population, and the time there. So it's just kind of a way of like seeing where cities are. You can add your cities. I added Abbotsford, where I came from. It's a big one.
That's really cool.
0.135 million. So there's a lot of people there. And yeah, it's a little screensaver. It goes around.
So is this the actual light zone that we're looking at right now?
Yeah, exactly. So it knows knows, because of the clock on your computer, it knows where the light is, so it can say right now North America it's daytime. So
that's so cool.
And I like the space stuff, the glow.
So as it starts to go over to the right in the dark, then we'll know sunset is coming.
Yeah, it's coming. So it's Cities of Earth 3D. It's a screen.
This is free?
It's absolutely free. Go to labwithleo.com. I'll show you where to grab it, and you can check it out, and some other free files and Yule's Jewels there. So
really neat stuff.
A lot more. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
You're welcome, Mr. Leo Laporte.
Labwithleo.com, the place to go. When we come back in just a little bit, we're going to talk about hacking. Are you a hacker? You're a hacker.
I'm going to learn how to be a
hacker. You're a bad, evil hacker. We're going to do good hacking. We're going to take our iPod Touch.
There you go.
And we're going to put applications on it.
There you go.
Anything you want. Anything. Even this. Anything you want.
Anything?
Well, not it.
Can I put a Yule's Jewel on it?
No.
No? Okay.
They're all free, though.
Okay.
You like that?
I like that.
They're all free. Right now, it's time for our quick quiz question of the day. One last chance to answer this one. What does AJAX stand for? That's that web technology that we were talking about that works with Flex. Remember that? Is it Advanced JavaScript Extended, Asynchronous JavaScript and XML, Advanced Java Automation Extensible, or Awesome? Jim's an X-Man, dude. Ho-ho-ho. Go to the website, give us the answer. We'll talk about it when the lab continues. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we asked you what AJAX stands for, and I don't know, but I'm thinking that.
Well done.
That's what I was going to guess. It is. I'm not kidding you.
I'm sure it was.
What was it? Something in JavaScript and XML. Automated? Asynchronous.
Asynchronous Java.
That means asynchronous means it can go at different times.
Yes.
Kind of like multi-threaded. Anyway, I hope you got that right. He wrote it. Complaints to him. Now, let's talk about hacking your iPod Touch. This all got started really with hacking the iPhone.
Yes.
Allowing it first to put applications, because there were no applications available on the iPhone, and then to using another carrier with it. And of course, it's been a seesaw battle. And we should point out that we're recording this early in November. It could be that by the time you see this, everything's up for grabs again, because what happens is Apple does updates, and that breaks the hacks.
Yes.
Now, there's much more incentive for them to do that on the iPhone, where they make more money through subscription fees through the phone company and so forth. On the iPod Touch, I don't think they really mind if you put applications on it.
I don't feel too bad about showing this one off, personally, because this one is your technology. No one else is involved in this. There's no contract you're breaking. You're just basically voiding your warranty, potentially.
It's completely conceivable that Apple could at some point, through iTunes, push an update to the iPod Touch that breaks all of this.
Yep.
Mostly what seems to happen is the hackers go, okay, back to the drawing board, and a few weeks later figure out a way around it. The worst case scenario, as far as we can tell, if something goes wrong, you could just restore your iPod Touch. It would be back to the factory state, and you'd be back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, really worst case scenario, you could brick this entirely, so do this at your own risk, but the chances of that happening with this, not likely.
I think we don't need to worry too much about that.
Right.
But it's pretty amazing what you can do. Now, the Touch does come with a web browser and Wi-Fi.
Right.
So you do have some capabilities here, but no other applications.
No, and the one thing that makes this all possible, thankfully, is the fact that all the iPods, the iPhone, the new iPod lines, they use a very stripped down version of OS X on this. So it does have a file system like your Mac OS X machine. And
if you could only get into it.
Right. So you can get into it in a couple of ways. There's ways to hack into it.
The thing that drives me the most crazy is that they took away that capability that all the other iPods had of being able to copy files onto your iPod. That disk mode's gone.
Right, and there's probably a way to hack that back onto this
I'm sure
as well,
there is.
just because it is essentially an external hard drive.
Right.
So
we're in the browser right now.
We're in the browser. We're in Safari. So the key to all of this is the TIFF exploit that's well known on Safari. It'll break something within Safari and give you control over the rest of the system.
Okay.
Now with the
Apple
iPod,
will certainly patch this at some point.
Yes, but they haven't patched it for quite a while. They knew about this way before they got to the iPod.
Is it a security flaw?
It is a security flaw.
Yeah.
So someone could theoretically take control of your machine with this. And they actually use this to be able to install an installer application onto the iPhone and to the iPod Touch.
And incidentally, they fixed the flaw so that your machine is secure again. So you could always say to Apple, but it's a security fix. All right, so what do? You actually can do this without hooking it up. You do it on the web.
Right.
So you need Wi-Fi.
You need Wi-Fi, so you just set this up with Wi-Fi and go to... there's a couple of ways to do this. I used an old one. I'll put this in the show notes.
This is the easiest way.
This is the easy way. It's called Jailbreak Me, and it's at jailbreakme.com. You just go to that site.
You literally just surf to that site?
And you surf to that site and hit go. And server can't connect to it because, oh, well, we're not connected right now, but it'll take you to this page.
I can't believe it. Wait, is that it?
Is that it? Oh, that is it. In fact, it's AppSnap, so it'll add the AppSnap installer automatically, and then you can actually install other applications from that installer, which gets put on through this TIFF exploit.
So you've run the TIFF exploit by going to the website. You've put AppSnap on your iPod Touch. Now what do we do?
Well, after that, we go to the main screen.
Look at his screen.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of other applications.
Those weren't there before.
So this is the key one. There's the one right here that has, this is the older version of the installer. There's a newer one with a slightly different look to it.
But that blue thing says,
the blue thing says
got a number on it
installer.
saying that there's some new applications, so it notifies you when there's new apps.
And updates.
You're missing it. There you go.
So there we go. So you tap that and go through here. Now there's a couple of tabs up top here: install, update, uninstall, and sources. And what you really want to do to get all of these tabs, and every time we do this...
Here, let me hold it, because I can deglare it. So you're going to tap this Sources tab as soon as it gets registered.
So every time you log on, it registers all the applications, makes sure that you have the updated version.
I'm having the same problem you were. There we go.
Yeah, it's hard to do that from the side. So you go to Sources. This one's already set up with community sources. This is the key.
Right.
When you first install this, there's not a lot of software available to you. And going to community sources will take third-party sources from a couple of different places, and we'll add them into there.
So it's as easy as adding new programs, as easy just tapping these, as I just did, saying install, and it installs it.
Right.
That's so cool.
So we've installed
How many applications are there?
There's hundreds.
Really?
There's a lot of dictionaries. There's a lot of duplication in some of these, but useful applications, so far, not a ton.
Yeah, they're just kind of fun.
They're fun.
There's some games.
Yeah, we've installed a few on here, and I'll put a list of some of them in the show notes, but I've put on Stumbler, which is a Wi-Fi Stumbler. You can find out all the different Wi-Fi networks.
There's all these
signals.
applications. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on.
There's one called 15, which is essentially a little, you know those old games with the 15
Bible.
slots? Yeah.
Put the Bible on it. These are all books.
Right.
You have a book reader on here. Tarzan of the Apes.
Right.
Look at all that.
Yeah, so all of these you can put on, and if we have a second,
this
we'll
one
show
I like,
something.
because this
I think we may be
uploads
out
to
of time
Flickr.
now. Yeah,
What's your favorite one?
My favorite one is Oblique, because it's Brian Eno's Oblique Strategies card game.
That's just silly.
So you just tap that on. It's pretty useless, but you know, if you need a second opinion on something, it'll give you some useless answer. Or potentially useful.
Here, I'll press it. So it's going to give us an answer right now. Should I ask it a question?
Ask it a question. Just tap it.
Just tap it, and I'm going to ask it a question, and the answer is use cliches. Well, that's easy. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
Ask another question.
Right.
What should I do right now? What mistakes did you make last time? Not going to the break soon enough. So let's do that right now. We'll be right back.
Towards the
all the notes on the website, labwithleo.com. We'll be right back. I like that. The extravagance. Spend money. Sean had all these programs he wanted to show that he really likes. This is Lights Off. It's a game. It's really fun. Yeah, I find it too challenging. It's very difficult. Anyway, these are all free, which is kind of neat. Very fun. Hey, we thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're hacking your iPhone or learning Flex or just trying to back up your software, this is what the program's all about. If you've got a question, go to the website, labwithleo.com, and fill out the form. Kate will call you.
I will.
And we'll get you on the show.
We'll solve all your problems.
Yes. Thanks so much for being here. Make sure you tell your friends and come back again tomorrow. We'd love to see you right here on the lab. See you later. Bye-bye. Okay, you ready to play Lights Out?
Okay, go.
Have you played this?
No, I haven't.
It's really fun. You try to turn those lights out.